The truth about living in Tucson. All right, what's up? My name is Emilio, and I'm a local realtor out here in Tucson, Arizona, Davis-Monthan Air Force Base. And I'm also active duty, and I've been stationed out here for just about a year, but I've been active duty for almost 10 years now. And this is just going to be a perspective about living in Tucson from someone that's been here for almost a little over a year now. And even though I'm a realtor, and sure, I would love to come and help you buy a home here, I'm not going to sugarcoat this stuff. If this is a place that you don't want to live here and some of the stuff is going to put you off, then don't come here. Don't live here because Tucson is definitely not for everyone. And keep in mind, this is coming from someone that doesn't have an option to be stationed here. So even though I say that, Tucson has been awesome for my family and I, both my wife and we had a baby out here. So it's been an amazing time. And I grew up in California, LA County, so super populous area. Went to a place called Dyess, Texas, which is super rural and was not my cup of tea, honestly. And then eventually went to Japan and came here to Tucson. So this is just going to be a perspective from someone that's kind of lived in areas that have just such a drastic feel to them. So I just want to give you as much clarity on Tucson itself that I can. And again, I just want to emphasize, even though I'm a realtor, I want to give it to you straight. I want to give you the down and dirty of Tucson. One thing I do want to mention though is I'm technically not allowed to tell you what areas are good and which areas are not. That's technically considered steering for real estate agents, so I'm legally not allowed to do that. But the only thing I can do is give you my experience. So my wife and I, we bought a home out here in Vale. Actually, we purchased a new build home, so it was it's pretty cookie cutter style. But that's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's we definitely saw the value in it, especially when interest rates were about at 7% when we first started looking around. These builders were offering great incentives, like we got a 4.75 interest rate, so it's definitely something that caught our eye and we just decided to make the move. And definitely having a family is something that my wife and I had planned on. So the area that we're in, Vale, it's called Rocking K. So and it's kind of newer. They started building here just a few years back, and it's a really just a little suburb of Tucson. But it's been awesome. It's a little bit of a drive from the actual town itself, but it's really nice and quiet, family oriented. And one thing that I guess we weren't prepared for was just the amount of kind of animals that are out here and pests. We occasionally see a tarantula. We have lizards here. We've had a scorpion in our house a couple times, but nothing too crazy. We'll hear coyotes outside, so we'll have to bring the dog inside before that little one gets eaten up. And but yeah, I mean, if that's something that you enjoy, that's just kind of being around nature and animals, and this area is definitely that's the spot for you. And there's just so many different areas within Tucson that are just like that. I actually did Uber Eats my first couple of months when I was here, so I got to drive around a lot of neighborhoods in Tucson. So, and anywhere from like Oro Valley, Marana, even down to Sahuarita, those are all little neighborhoods that they have a really similar vibe. There's a lot of new builds that are out there, so a lot of these big home construction companies are out there buying plots of land, building them up, and just really developing them. So you definitely have a lot of people just moving out to those little areas just to kind of get away from Tucson, and it's just been really nice for us. Like I said, you can definitely find that pretty much anywhere, any direction you go. The price ranges are really going to vary. There are some price ranges where you have those more luxury, modern style homes, but you can definitely find something from the lower 300s, all the way up to like those high fives, those luxury homes that I was talking about. And then in my personal opinion, Tucson just has a niche for everyone, really. If you say you can't find anything to do in Tucson, then I'm just gonna be honest, you're a boring person. Because there's just so much to do. If you love the outdoors, there's obviously plenty of that. You can go camping. There's Mount Lemon here, a lot of ATV and dirt bike roads, things like that. And then there's also just so much food here, like restaurants. I do have a Puerto Rican friend, and he says that there's some Puerto Rican lacking places here because it's really just Mexican oriented. There's so many Mexican spots, everything from like your typical hole in the wall to your more kind of I'd say Americanized restaurants. Um, And then also there's a little niche of like just thrifting stores. So that's something my wife and I really enjoy. We just enjoy going out thrift stores, especially for clothes. But yeah, there's a lot of that within like downtown area, and then just scattered across town too. Everything from like your Goodwill to like your mom and pop thrift stores. And there's really no other shortage of when it comes to stores and the type of things that you're looking for. I've also noticed there's quite a good amount of like these interesting luxury, what is it, luxury furniture stores. So there's a couple of them where it's almost like an art gallery. We just go out, and then there's also these kind of thrift store slash furniture stores. So there's a lot of those cool things. There's like this other store with just chandeliers and lights and things like that. So there's a lot of interesting things throughout town. That's really my point here. And even in the downtown area, there's a lot to do. You have your a couple of clubs and things like that, bars if you're into that stuff. I'm honestly getting old for that. I have a kid, but if that's your type of vibe, there's definitely that for you. So, like I said, there just really isn't a shortage of things to do out here. If you like cycling, there's I believe it's 100-mile loop that goes around all of town. So, and there's obviously numerous entrance points scattered throughout the town. If you're into that, there's a lot of shooting ranges out here. If you like going shooting. And another thing I wanted to mention is that I've heard people kind of complain about, which I mean, I really don't mind it at all, or have really noticed a big impact. But it's like the snowbirds that come down during the winter. So normally you have people that live out in other areas. It's usually more retired age folks, and they'll obviously it'll be nice and still kind of warm during the winter area here, so they'll come down to visit and stay. And you do kind of notice an increase in traffic. I've only been here for a year, so it's kind of difficult for me to judge it based off of other times. But there definitely was a sort of an increase on the just kind of the amount of people and the traffic and all that stuff. But it wasn't anything too significant. Tucson itself already you have so much time to it takes a while just to drive from one part of town to another. So I mean, I'm kind of used to it at this point. You really only have the I-10 to rely on, which is on the edge of the west side of town, and there really isn't any other highways or major roads like that. So, like I said, there really isn't a big difference in notice of anything like that. I mean, but it's just another thing to consider if you want to come to live down here. And then one thing about Tucson that kind of makes me miss living in California is just this is going to sound silly, but the lack of vegetation and trees. Man, words are hard. Vegetation and trees. Yep, there we go. But like I said, I'm from California, where every block there's a bunch of trees and just a lot of greenery, grass, really. But here in Tucson, there really isn't any of that. Every corner, every street is just rocks and dirt. You'll have your obviously your cactus, your things like that, the saguaro cactus. So it's definitely still a nice scenery. It's just a lot different from what I'm used to, and especially coming from Japan, where we have kind of almost forest of just greenery coming down here in Tucson, where it's just nothing really until you go up to like the west or east side of town, where you have the national forest or the national parks. I mean, and I mean it is nice out there. It really is. You have an entire just kind of mountains almost of just of cactus and things like that. But yeah, that was just something really different to me, and I'm still kind of getting used to it, and it does make me miss living in parts like that. And but one thing I do appreciate is just the dry heat. We came from Japan, which was just extremely humid all the time, and you take a shower, you'd walk outside, and you're just sweating, you're swamped already, and it was just annoying and frustrating. If you did anything outside, just anything as little as try and clean your car out or take stuff, things like that, go grocery shopping, you're gonna be sweating. But here it's dry heat. It still can be a little tough, especially when you're right peaking on that summer. It was tough, especially in our first year. It took us some time to adjust, but it was a lot better than having to deal with that super humid heat. Um, but yeah, that's just something else to consider, especially if you want to come live down here. It does get a little bit cooler towards the south, the areas where we're at, like in Vale, Sahuarita, towards those mountainous areas. It'll be a little cooler from actual Tucson. And again, my name is Emilio. I'm a local realtor out here in Tucson. So if you're looking to buy or sell in the area, or if you're coming to the area, reach out to me. My phone number is 520-820-1948. Shoot me. I want to hear from you. Shoot me your messages, your texts, your questions, or anything like that. I want to hear from you. I'm someone that's moved here from another country, and I want to give you the most feedback that I can to make sure that you make the right choice for yourself, whether it's if it is moving here or if it's not. Just shoot me a text, give me a call. But this wraps up this video. I just kind of want to get on here and just give you some real honest feedback from someone that's lived here for over a year now, and someone that's lived in areas that are drastically different. Somewhere on a tropical island. I've been in, places like California, super populous areas, one of the most expensive areas in the world, really, to live. And just wanted to give you the down and dirty of this area. And like I said, it has a lot to offer. It really does. There's not too much I can talk down on it. It's a nice city and it offers so much. But if you have any other questions, just drop them in the comments down below, or just shoot me a text or give me a call. I want to hear from you. I want to hear your feedback, what you think, or any other stuff that you would like to hear about this town. All right, see you.